And welcome again to another episode of the SPIDEYDUDE Experience. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood host and webmaster of SPIDEYDUDE.com and the SPIDEYDUDE Radio Network, executive producer of the radio network. I am so happy that you came aboard to see us today here on the SPIDEYDUDE Experience. We're going to be doing a little bit different episode than normal. Going to be taking your questions. So we're going to be talking to you. Of course, you can always go to spidey-dude.com and check us out there. Also, you can go to our social medias, at SPIDEYDUDE Radio on Twitter, at SPIDEYDUDE Network on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as to when we go live next. So, you can also become a Patreon member, just like Venkman, our patron. Venkman, he is a Patreon member over at patreon.com/SPIDEYDUDE Network. Check that out and become a Patreon member today. Of course, we are going to be broadcasting live this coming Friday for Make Mine Mayday, so check us out then. Really excited about today's episode. And as always, I am not alone, of course. And I am joined by various guys. And I even got Sarah in the background. Sarah's saying hi. She's waving. If you're an audio listener, be sure to check our video out, because we're going to apologize in advance, because we are going to definitely have some visual aids tonight and references to our live comments. As we live stream these episodes, we're going to apologize to you in advance, our lovely audio listeners. But if you want to be on the program, of course, you can leave us a voicemail at 818-925-6631. Be sure to tell us where you're calling from and what show you're calling about, and we'll play it on the show. You can also leave us an email at SPIDEYDUDERadioNetwork@gmail.com, or leave us a review on that podcatcher that you're listening to right now. And give us 5 stars if you like us. If you don't, leave us that feedback, and we'll try to get better the next episode. So with that, we'll get started with this particular edition, the 17th episode of the SPIDEYDUDE Experience. And the first person I'm going to introduce is Q and Adam.
Hello again. Yeah, I guess we're doing like a catch-all thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do some speculating tonight. We're gonna do some
speculation, casual speculation, and
yeah,
Q&A.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing some talking. Yeah, Q&A. We'll take your questions and your comments. Next up, I've got Neil Whataburger as he takes a giant bite of a Whataburger. Good job.
Nice if mine would have been cold.
That's Texas, baby.
Viva, Texas. Yesterday was Texas Independence Day, so if you, that is a real holiday. It's not a fake holiday. It was something that happened back in 1836.
We only celebrate it 1 out of 50 times in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. So then finally, last but not least,
P-Thuggin.
I got P-Thuggin in the house.
Hello.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm well. Hi. Yeah, I'm well. Just hanging out. Yeah.
So, all right. So we're going to take some comments.
Hi, Bankman. Hi, Self-Love.
Hi, SoFlo. Hello, everyone. He's got a question. I'll answer that in a minute. He says, hello. And they're saying hi to Sarah. They're happy that Sarah's around. And, of course, Big Bogan Rider Burger. That is Vinkman. So, all right. There is one thing I'm going to do, and I'm glad that Vinkman's on, and I'm glad he's watching right now. So I have pre-opened. I have not looked inside. I have pre-opened the box. Now, this box was sent to me by Vinkman. It's got a bunch of question marks.
Uh-oh.
So, hey, we got a new subscriber. She says, hi, very recently found out about this channel, and I got to say, you guys have the best takes. Well, thank you.
Wow.
We're not going to be doing a lot of reviews tonight, but
It's mostly speculation.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some speculative stuff tonight, but
With visual aids.
I just show up in the background sometimes.
Sarah's just somebody that shows up in the background sometimes.
Somebody.
She's my fiance. She's a significant
I brought charts.
Yeah. So Neil brings charts. I bring boxes of stuff that's sent to me. So I swear I wrote this. Hang on, I'm going to make the banner, because this banner to me is it's going to be meme worthy.
Oh no.
What's in the box?
Jeez.
What's in
All
the
right. What's in the box? All right. So I cut this thing open. I did not cut into the items. I very lightly cut into this. I'm a professional after all. So Vinkman sent me this when I was sick a couple of weeks ago, and I said I was going to open it live on air. So we're gonna find out together what it is. So, all right. And Sarah wanted to be in here. So,
And then I'll go troll in the comments.
yeah, then she's gonna go. All right. So first up,
We got the ASMR going.
yeah, if you like as I knock my light down. Wow, that went well. All right.
Okay, you can see it.
fire commences?
All right. So what is? It's a Marvel Legend.
Wow. Can I guess? Can I guess? Can I guess?
What?
Frogman.
No.
Oh.
Firestar.
Ooh.
Oh, hey!
It's the Carnage figure. Oh.
Hey, we can't
Hey.
see the comments in case Bankman says something.
Yeah. So this is okay. This was from 2018, I think.
Hello, Matt Bird.
Hi, Matt Bird. So this is pretty hard to find because they released a Absolute Carnage figure last year. He's very difficult to get a hold of, and so I've been looking for this guy. This is actually a better figure than the 2012 version because it has a head swap, and it's got actual like axe hands and like claw hands and hand swaps. It also comes with the Space Venom head. So, thank you, Vinkman. This is awesome. I'm geeking out. Like this has been on my list of ones to try to get for a long time. So
Listen, I looked on eBay for Christmas and couldn't find the right one. So thank you for taking it off of my gift list.
yes,
I honestly appreciate it.
Sarah is very appreciative of you, Vinkman. All right, next up, let's see what else is in the box.
Frogman.
There's more.
Ow,
But
what
wait,
Frogman?
Not a frogman.
Are you sure?
Zach's like, Fox, go.
Are you sure?
Get out of here. Get out of here, box.
Oh wow!
Look, I'm sorry I made the Frogman meme popular. You can't stop the classics.
So this is like little pocket comics.
Let me see.
Whoa.
These
That's
are
cool.
really. These are from the. I think these are from the 90s. I have
That
no
is
idea what
awesome.
these are.
Wow.
Hang on, Zach, can you put it up to the
Bankman, you
screen?
got something that
Yeah,
you
let me-
didn't
let me-
know.
It's like a limited series, but it's like Jubilee and Spider-Man and Wolverine, Hulk, and they're like flip books.
Let me see.
Oh, so there's like
Cool.
two of them to a thing.
Yeah. And
That's
then
awesome.
okay, this is awesome. This is a comic. It says Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders go missing. Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk in Southwest Showdown.
And they still beat the Cowboys.
Oh, this is really cool.
97 era comic. It has to be.
Yes, and Vinkman points out in the 2012 Carnage also had very loosey goosey leg joints. Yeah, he was kind of loosey goosey. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Oh,
He got me the Clone Genesis trade from the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Aw.
Oh man!
You know what, Bankman? Now you just took my wedding gift. Thanks.
Wow!
But
There,
it's
just get him an omnibus.
Hey,
Yeah.
there are too many comments for that. Listen,
Get him the first hardcover of the jam.
Oh, there's too. Okay, there's too many comics per. Okay, so Vinkman says there's too many comics per bag. So yes, this is the Clone Genesis trade. This came out in the 1990s, and this covers the original 70s Clone Saga. So this is very, and it's not easy to find. So it's
My shop had it recently, but you know, yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to find.
I've had that in my eBay cart for 6.5 months.
oh yay! Oh yay!
It's the box that keeps on giving.
There's more.
Ooh,
This is the
nice.
Lost Years trade.
Oh,
Good
no.
lord.
Jeez.
So this is the Lost Years trade that I this has been on my list of trades to find, and so this is the 3-issue limited series. Good God, Neil,
I'm sorry.
mute yourself.
Hey, Hey, Bankman, I need
He's
your
gotta
hookup on where to get the things, please.
So yeah,
It's back alley deals.
Those are in good shape too.
Yeah,
Damn.
they're they're like brand new.
very
They
props to Bankman.
look mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually bought this. This is a Backlash Spider-Man 2-issue limited series that they did with Image with Ben Reilly as Spider-Man in Backlash. I actually got but this is in a much better shape of a copy than my other one. I bought it at San Diego when I was down in San Diego. So I actually covered this on an episode of CSC. Venkman.
Why is there so much stuff in here?
Yeah,
This is the last gift. This is the last gift.
Dude.
He got me
Christmas in
the
March.
Cosmic Adventures. So here's why he got this for me, because
The
my
OG.
copy.
Your cousin is asking a question.
Why am I getting a goodie box? Because I've been a good kid, Nicole. Mostly. Okay,
It's
so
just because Venkman's really nice.
Venkman's awesome. Okay, the reason why Venkman bought me this is because my copy of this got eaten partially
What?
by not my dog,
Cowboy.
my ex-wife's dog. He chewed on the back cover, and so it's been falling apart. The spine was falling apart, so I now have a replacement.
He said he didn't know if you had the backlash.
Yeah. No. Hey, listen, it's in much better shape than mine. Mine was very used. This looks brand freaking new.
Yeah, those
These
all.
all these all look
Great.
new. My
Beautiful
goodness.
copies.
Did you break into like a diamond warehouse or something and just take them off the printing line?
So Vinkman's gonna have to like talk to us in the comments. This is really thoughtful. Thank you so much.
Man, show me.
Bankman, you're god tier.
Like this is just beyond. This just man, and you're such a supporter of the show, all the shows, and thank you. I mean, you're not just a listener. You're definitely a friend, and please know that I'm very touched that I got a goodie box. And this definitely makes me feel better from when I was really sick last week. That's why he was sending it. He's like, I'm going to send you a mystery box. And this definitely lifted my spirits today. Just an incredible treasure trove of awesome stuff. If you guys have not checked out the episodes of CSC, like the last year's episode,
We need to have Venkman.
Venkman is going to be. We're gonna do some stuff with Venkman. I don't know exactly what. We're trying to figure out some Patreon exclusive stuff, but he will definitely be involved. So that is to you guys.
Yeah, the Mane of
Listen.
Cain. It's the Mane of Cain.
The Bane of Cain. All right, so
Here we go.
This is where I depart. I will go troll in the comments.
Bye, Sarah.
Sarah's gonna go watch some like NCIS or something. I don't know.
Hey, tell
iCarly.
me what happens with
Hey, listen. Just because I'm reliving my teenage years, because I hate being an adult with bills and a wedding to plan.
This is true.
Sarah, really quick. Did they ever answer that arc with Gibbs and Phineas?
Did they ever answer the arc with Gibbs and Phineas?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
In season 17.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Oh,
It leads to the finale. Let's just put it that way.
oh, nice.
Yeah. So yes, the
I
Phineas.
used to watch NCIS before I moved back to Austin. So
Bye, Nicole. Love you. That's my cousin. We'll get together soon. So
okay.
No,
Anyways, comic book.
all right, back to comic books. No, I'm going to answer the question that Kelly Cantu left. All right, so my opinions of I like, especially like once we get to Spider-Girl, like the super main, right? So I'll definitely be discussing this on Make My Mayday this Friday, because we're covering the first appearance of Kane. But I've always it was actually in this story that we got the main of Kane.
Oh, in Lost Years.
Yeah, that's where we first saw it. It wasn't quite
He
as
always had a mane.
he had long hair, but if you remember
That's
the
a
original
mane, dude. That's a mane.
Okay, it's not like a free flowing Linus
That's
mane.
also the interpretation
What's
of
the
John
difference-
Romita Jr.
Hang on,
That's
what's the
true.
difference? What's the difference? What's the difference between a mane and a mullet?
A mullet
party in the
has-
back and a business in the front. That's what
It's
a
it's got to be
mullet is.
even. It's got to be all even
Okay.
to not be a mullet.
So that Michael Bailey doesn't appear spontaneously out of nowhere. The Superman long hair was not a mullet; it was just long hair.
Was Nightwing a mullet?
Are you talking Teen Titans Nightwing? Or are you
Like-
McDaniel
Wolfman,
Nightwing?
like post Wolfman Perez Nightwing.
I don't know. Paul, what do you think?
For the mullet, I mean, I always thought Nightwing had a little more of a mullet than Superman personally
Me
back
too.
in the 90s. But at the same time, I thought that Superman's long hair was just longer hair. It was never a mullet. You know, a mullet is like way shorter in the front, way shorter and like longer in the back. Like think it's not a mullet, it's just longer hair, basically. That was the style back in the 90s, man. There was a lot of people
Right.
loving,
Listen, I had
hair.
some luscious hair before my ex-wife got half of it in the divorce. So, Matt Bird says, I also have a copy of Clone Genesis. So he says genius, but Zach and I currently am reading Epic Collection, The Amazing Spider-Man trade of Goblin's Last Stand, and Mary Jane. You just hit the jackpot trade too. Those are all great trades. If you have not read the Mary Jane trade, it's very much.
The Mary Jane one is essentially like baby's first MJ. It's a good it's a good introduction to the character.
Yeah, the greatest
where,
hits, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Vinkman has a good point. If you could pull it into a ponytail, it's not a mullet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think that's probably one. I think that's one of Mike's points that he makes when people call
Yeah,
it.
that was what Nightwing, because Nightwing had a really long ponytail, didn't he?
Yeah.
So here's a dumber question. If you can put it into a man bun, is it a mullet?
No.
No. Because
No, because
buns
like
are still long hair in the front.
Okay, you see how like mine's kind of shaved and kind of short right here.
Yeah.
Like a true mullet, I wouldn't have shaved the back at all.
You totally
I would have
missed
just
that.
let that grow. You know what I mean?
I'm being frank here. If it's not like a number 3 on the sides and trim the top, I don't know what the hell it is.
Okay, you ever seen Joe Dirt, Neil?
No, yeah.
Okay, that's a mullet.
Okay.
Billy Ray Cyrus in the 90s, Achy Breaky Heart, that's a mullet. Okay, that's the mullet. That is a mullet. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, there is a bunch of parents that are doing this to their children, and I swear to God, it's child abuse. I literally was having this conversation with my person that was cutting my hair today. Like, I was like, she's like, yeah, I've had to really come in and fix some awful haircuts, and I'm like, yeah, that's because they gave their kids mullets, because for some reason 90s nostalgia is like
Peak
being
level.
nostalgic about the really bad parts of the 90s, and I don't understand whether it's the fashions. Like, why are mom jeans a thing again? Like, why?
It's fascinating.
At least it's
It
not
really
like
is.
at least it's not like apple bottom jeans.
Okay, but like, just can we meet in the middle here? Like, we
All right, we've talked about this has gone way too.
There is no compromise in living vicariously through your children.
yeah, that's true.
Let's just go. Let's just move
Let's
on, please.
let's do some future ASM speculation. All right. So
Okay.
Neil,
Shark time.
what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to blow you up.
Okay, so here we have my chart of charts, which is as up until ASM 60, all the current ongoing plot points for Amazing Spider-Man, and so about everything on this side can be considered probably by the end of ASM 66 resolved. So you've got the Kingpin plotline, the Boomerang plotline, the Randy Janus plotline, the Syndicate plotline. These are all connected, by the way, but they all count as independent plot points until they intersect.
Right.
And then an inevitable Robbie Tombstone drama. I expect all of these to be at least concluded or like set up to be concluded by issue 66, or at least by the King's Ransom one shot, the giant size.
Yeah, which I'm a little miffed about the fact that we're having to do an extemporaneous one shot. Why can't this just be a regular issue of ASM? I don't understand.
For the trade.
I know, but like,
Could actually be the annual. Possibly.
I would be fine with it being an annual. Let's make annuals great again. Like, let's make them important.
We've got one coming up for Black Cat, and that looks actually pretty good.
I will say this: the Black Cat series is really freaking.
We've been
good.
talking about. I've been talking about it on a different show, but that's one of the books that, like, if you're not reading Black Cat, you're missing out on some really good stuff.
I agree. I know, Paul. You haven't picked it up yet, or did you pick it up?
Paul, you're muted, by the way.
I don't know why you're muted. Oh, all right.
Oh, all right. I'm now. Sorry.
You unmuted yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, Venkman says now it's time for the real deal with Agreeable Neil.
Oh, God.
Wow.
All right.
So what were you asking about Black Cat?
Black Cat, yeah.
No, I'm not reading it right now. I don't really feel that it's. I like Felicia. Always like Felicia. I just don't know if she's strong enough character to be honest, to carry her own title. At least right now.
I'm gonna jump in. She's definitely got what it takes to carry her own solo. The book is proving it by the minute.
Look, I was very skeptical going into that title. And the first few issues really didn't do it for me, but I read the first 2 issues
and I did not like it.
Yeah, I was with you. Like it to me, it kind of suffered from the same syndrome that I had with Spencer and Superior Foes. I really disliked the first issue until I realized it's a comedy series, and I'm like, okay, all right,
are those three morons still with her?
Which
crew?
One?
The old crew.
Yeah, the crew.
Brody and Dr. Simon.
Where are they? Where those guys are? I was just like
they're still there, but I think they've gotten way better at adjusting into being like the supporting cast. They've
actually made them more rounded as characters.
Here's the thing. I will check it out at some point. The problem with Black Cat though is that she has too many different. She's in her span of being a character in the Marvel universe. Her characterization is kind of like this. It's just kind of gone back and forth, and now it's not all Slot's fault. Before you guys start slamming Slot.
I blame Joe Kelly 100%.
It was a lot.
I don't even blame Slot.
Because even in the 80s, when she first was introduced, she's all over the place. I mean, David Michelinie brought her as like basically, a superhero again. And then she's back to being a kind of a bad character. It's like, Heroes for Hire in the 2000s. I mean, she's kind of just done this a lot. And
they actually did something with that Heroes for Hire because, was it Bugman or what am I thinking of? You know what I'm thinking of? Yeah. They actually followed up on that because Zeb Wells did an Ant-Man series recently, and he followed up on that plot line in Ant-Man.
I actually like that Zeb Wells series, to be honest. I haven't finished it, but I liked it.
My problem was like the amount, like the and we're going to get into one more day stuff. I know there's a question already on there. We're going to probably have to talk about it. And we did talk about it last episode. But with Black Cat, I felt like the Roberto Aguirre Sacasa one shot that they did in Sensational was the last great Black Cat characterization. She's the ex-girlfriend, but she does care for Peter, but it's becoming more and more, that love is becoming more and more platonic. And you could see her getting to that road of acceptance. I did at first kind of like the Mark Millar, frenemy type thing with MJ and Felicia. But I think back to the Clone Saga myself, and I think of there got to a point where Mary Jane had nowhere else to go. Who does she turn to? She turns to Felicia because that's, one of the only people that understands what it means to be the significant other of Spider-Man. So I always felt like that could have, there was stuff you could have mined out of that. You could have created that friend, that relationship and made that closer and kind of taken the, like you say, there was times where Felicia was just, especially the Michelinie run, where she was just basically the jealous ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And, then she dates Flash. They start getting real close, and then she realizes.
I like that, by the way. I liked when they were dating.
Oh, if you give me Betty versus Felicia in terms of dating Flash Thompson, I will take Felicia 10 out of 10 times.
Absolutely.
And I don't, and it's not just because we have the meme of Bertoni hates Betty and all that fun stuff, which is a meme, and it's a bit that went way out of control. And even Josh has admitted to it. He's like, man, I took that like to an 11. We talk about like going back and listening to some of those old episodes, CSC and ASM Classics, and we're like, kind of cringy. Miley Cyrus hashtag. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like Felicia is one of those characters that can carry her own series, but it has to be done with the right writer. I didn't know if McKay was going to be that guy, but I felt like by the end of year 1 of that series, I was like, okay, he's got a grasp on the character and what makes her tick. The annual where they did the fake wedding was hilarious.
Also really good. Also got better about the art as time went on. Because they started off with travel format. And like when the book was announced and they had a travel form announced, I was like, there is no way this is lasting. And then they switched like to Dean Browning, I think, on issue 6 with the Batroc issue. Yeah. And issue 6 is where it really picked up, but the annuals where like people got on board with it. Yeah. And then you get and you get CF Villa, I think, is the artist after that. And he's the one doing the King in Black tie-ins. But like, if you skip those first 5 issues and you get to issue 6, that's honestly like where you should start.
Agreed. You know, you got to kind of get through that first few issues to get to the meat of it.
Also, it was a lot of fun to see Felicia not just be stuck in Peter's satellite. She's not. She explores like the Fantastic Four, the Sanctum Sanctorum, Iron Man. It's fun to see her in like these weird, not necessarily weird, but like alien to her environments.
Yes. I also want to acknowledge Kelly said something. Says Nightwing's ponytail was barely a ponytail, it was basically a rat tail, which, you know.
That's actually a very valid point.
Yep. That's true. That's true.
Adam, what do you think about Felicia and all that?
I was about to jump to Adam.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Well, I'm not really reading Black Cat. I've looked at a little bit of it. It's all right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of agree with Paul. Like, she has had some wonky characterization throughout the years.
Yes.
But you know, I guess the series is okay from what little of it that I've read. So you know, when it ends, it ends. But I guess if people are liking it, I'm fine with that.
I would encourage you to get on Marvel Unlimited and check out that first year and see, you know, and go from there, because I think that for whole first year is there.
I think this is what I'll say about it. That I will say I'm intrigued to check it out, not just because you guys are saying good things about it, but on top of that, the fact that it hasn't been canceled yet is a big deal, to be quite honest. And the fact that it has found its audience does say something. The only thing for me is that I don't see Felicia as what the writer at least initially put it into. I know it's kind of more humor based, but like when you have Wolverine guest star, I was like, I'm out. Like that's all in the first like 3 or 4 issues, and I was like, I'm out, dude.
Wait, was he? No, he wasn't in there until issue 9.
Was he? He was somewhere where I thought I was like,
well, but okay, but let's be real. That's I kind of discount that as the marketing department saying, "Hey, we need Wolverine."
And also, they made him the butt monkey of the entire escapade.
And it's funny because I just picked up today. I was at Ollie's and I picked up the first Ms. Marvel trade, the Kamala Khan, because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to watch this Disney Plus series because everything's gonna tie together. So I need to get like more familiarized with the character and not dog on a character that I don't know enough about, right?
Off of Wikipedia, read the character instead of just going off a Wikipedia article.
Right. You know, I need to read the book itself. It's been universally like most everybody that I've talked to that's read the book has loved it, thinks it's great. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it the shot that it deserves and be objective about it. And I've read like the first 3 issues and I really enjoy it. It's a very different storyline. You know, having a person who is Muslim writing the book and having the character be Muslim, I thought was very important. So
it's authentic.
It's authentic. It gives an air of authenticity. It's not some Protestant Christian trying to write a Muslim book, like a character that's Muslim. That's just not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying that it definitely helps that there's that this character is writing a version of themselves.
She understands, like, G. Will Wilson is, I believe, white but adopted the Muslim faith, but it's important to note that, like, she understands, like, the responsibilities that go into that type of religion. Like, if Zach was to write, like, a Christian book, he would understand the intricacies of that religion and the struggles that go along with it.
Right. You know, for me, it wouldn't, like, I wouldn't write Daredevil because I'm not a Catholic, right? I'm definitely a WASP, painfully WASP. But
they exist.
Yeah, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. That's me. I am painfully white, but at the end of the day, I enjoy the book. So, like, I've tried to be much more open-minded, and I feel like Nick Spencer kind of got me to that point with Superior Foes, because again, I wasn't that first issue. I'm like, what the hell is that? I didn't understand. It didn't dawn on me. I was too effing dense to realize that it was a comedy book. So, which gets us back to what we were talking about a minute ago. ASM speculation. I really think we're getting into, I would consider this phase 3 of the Spencer run.
Yeah, like we've had our big serious mega crossover, or not crossover, but like our big summer blockbuster storyline that was supposed to be earlier in the year, but because of
COVID,
external factors, it got delayed. So yeah, I can see at least 2 or 3 of these plot points that I've written down in the chart to be taken off the board in one fell swoop.
Did you scan that and put that on the Discord?
I didn't. I'll just take a picture of it on my phone real quick, or my tablet real quick.
Okay, yeah,
I don't have a scanner in my apartment.
Dude, you use your phone.
I know. That's what I'm doing right now.
You're going to use the Notes app?
I can do that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Just no. In the Notes app on iPhones, you can hit. When you hit the arrow, it'll say scan documents, and I'm
using my tablet, so I'm not sure.
You can do it if it's running iOS 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can take. Yeah, there we go. Okay, scan documents. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's one. They used to have like third-party apps for it, and I remember I paid for one because when I was doing insurance stuff, it was just easy for me to scan documents and email them, and use my phone to do it. And then they added that as a native feature to iOS, and I was like, dude, this is so much better. So it makes it automatically into a PDF where you can sit there and mark on it and sign it and stuff.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay.
So if you have not joined our Discord, the link is actually on our YouTube page. If you're watching us on YouTube, which I think everybody right now that's watching is on YouTube. Yeah, everybody on YouTube. I've got the link. It's on the page. If you can't find it, shoot me a comment and I'll post it in the comments. So Vickman says, I just pulled out Detective Comics 697, 98, and 99 by Dixon and Nolan. Nightwing definitely has a ponytail in those issues. Yes, he does. In his solo book, which I picked up, that was the first non-Spider-Man comic I ever bought was Nightwing, and I picked it up at Walmart back when they used to have a little rack of comics on the end cap of action figure aisle. I'm like Michael Bailey level of just like remembering random BS.
There we go. I've posted
my life.
I've posted it. So anyone who's in the Discord, you now have a visual aid to go along with our discussion.
There you go. So, and I may pull up. Well, I'm not going to pull up Discord right now. I still got to get my RAM for my desktop because like I tried having the screen shared, and StreamYard is really not liking me sharing my screen right now.
How much RAM do you have? 8 gigs?
Yeah.
You need to upgrade right now.
Yeah. So I can max out at 32, so that's what I'm gonna try to do. So
but yeah.
because like I can't have anything else open like when I'm doing Photoshop and Illustrator.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm working on. I will say this. We'll talk a little bit about the future of the site too. The cover to ASM Classics is going to change when we start season 2. Everything has been put into season 1. So if you're following on like Apple Podcasts on ASM Classics, everything is in season 1. For some reason, when I did that though on like Podcast Addict, it made everything double up on certain episodes for some reason. Sorry, don't know why. So,
But yeah, on this. Oh, sorry.
It's not that way anywhere else. It's not that way on Spotify. It's not that way on Google.
Probably a
But for some
software
reason-
problem.
Yeah, it may be just a. Podcast Addict was really great about 4 years ago, and I have not used it since I went back to iPhone. So I can't really. I don't have an Android to tell you how good it is. But that was what I was using exclusively.
But but chart time. Okay, so
Chart
actually,
time,
do you
chart
mind
time.
if I screen share? Because if you give me permission, I think I can.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, hang on.
So we can see it better
Share screen.
while you're doing that. Paul, you got any thoughts about the next few months of ASM? Oh,
Next few months, yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I think that there's going to be a lot of I don't know. I think there's going to be some kind of conclusion, but the fact that Spencer has been orchestrating this whole thing has been really interesting. He's essentially the new Slot. I mean, everything is kind of running through him for Spider-Man, and there's no signs of that letting go. I mean, obviously we have the nonstop or whatever Spider-Man series that's being released by Joe Kelly and Pacheco, whatever his name is. But
Chalo.
whatever. But
I feel bad for him because apparently, like the reason he's getting pushed back is because he's been dealing with like I think his family got COVID and I don't want to I can't verify, but I think one of his parents died. He's been dealing with that. So it's like I feel kind of bad for clowning on him. So
his early stuff is great. I just bought. Hey, case in point, let me show you a little show and tell.
Is this old Uncanny X-Men?
Hell no.
Is it Death?
No, it's freaking Avengers Forever, baby. This is the best work he's ever done.
Oh,
like this right here is one of my favorite all-time Avengers stories. This is a fantastic story. So if you're looking for, if you're like, I like the movies, but the comics are too weird, stay away from this book, because this book is freaking out of control.
This book is that book's the apology for The Crossing, and the less you know about The Crossing, the better.
I own The Crossing. Thank you very much.
That sounds like that's a you problem, Paul. So.
No, it's not a me problem. It's a baller problem. It means I'm a baller and you're not. No, just kidding. Here's the deal.
Served.
In all seriousness, even if the comics intimidate you, this is a great example of why comic books are awesome, or at least with the Marvel Cinematic or Marvel comic books 616 universe, because this is literally just Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg, but it just shows you how in depth everything is, and it is a great orchestrated book. I mean, Roger Stern, Kurt Busiek, and honestly, Pacheco, whatever his name is,
Pachalo,
whatever. Either way. Oh, it's Pacheco, so it's not even him. I always thought it was Pachalo.
Oh, yeah.
Take it back.
Carlos Pacheco is. I was like, I don't think Pachalo did.
I always think I get those two confused all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Paul, he's the one that did the Shed arc in Slot's run.
No, I know which one. I know Pachalo. I know which one Pachalo is, but I always get these two confused. But yeah,
because
Anyway,
their names are very similar.
well, yeah, thank you.
No.
Yeah.
Sort of.
But either
Sort of.
you stop it.
Tomato.
No, but either way, I just want to share this. This is a great story, and if you're like intimidated to get into comics, just jump into this because this is nuts. But it's so entertaining, and honestly, like I almost feel like if you're looking to get into comic books, or I'm not sure if you listen to this or watching this, if it matters to you. But one of the things when I was a kid, when I read stuff, I didn't know what I was reading half the time anyway. And it was awesome because I get the little footnote saying, well, read this. And to be honest, I would learn things by osmosis because I would just be reading things about whatever. I'd be, I started putting pieces together by all the things I read. So that is
Osmosis Jones.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly another way to learn. And instead of reading a Wikipedia page or whatever, like it's a way to do that because like again, you read this, you kind of get an idea, like, oh, this is what that means or whatever. And then when you read another story, it kind of ties it in together. You went, okay, now I understand that. That's how I know half the stuff about the Marvel Universe is when I was a kid, because I'd read random issues and I'd be like, what is this again? And then I go, oh, that one thing happened there. And that, okay, it all lines up. So yeah, I think you should dive into this book. This is a great book. Read this book.
Okay. Yeah. So,
this is one of my all-time favorite stories. That's why Venkman got it for me. And I would say Lost Years. Everybody that hates on the Clone Saga should read this, and you might change your mind. Anyway,
I love Demon Days. I don't think it's that good.
Such a great guy. I was talking. Dude, my day got made the other day because he liked one of my tweets. So, best part about Kelly says, best part about comic books is when the author notes send you down a little rabbit hole. That's how they get you.
There you go.
Kelly gets it. Kelly,
Kelly, you're our type of viewer, man. That's like
I like
that's actually how I got into Hickman's Avengers, was because when I was reading Spider-Verse, it shows like Spider Britain's homeworld got destroyed during the incursions. And I was like, I want to know what happened there, and I went down a rabbit hole of reading Hickman Avengers.
That's the beauty of the Marvel and even DC. I mean, all these comic books that have these deep continuities are just crazy. Yeah, they are intimidating, but I think it's not as intimidating once you actually sit down and read it for a little bit and go, okay, it's not that bad. It just looks bad because you think everyone else knows more than you. Well, here's the news. Everyone will always out there know more than you.
Uh-oh.
That's just the reality.
Is Paul bugging for anyone?
Yeah, Paul's bugging out. You there, Paul? Now you're good.
Well, I just wanted to say, for people who are nervous to go down rabbit holes or to talk about the stuff in public or whatever, here's the thing. There will always be someone who know more than you in whatever you're doing. So whether it be in Marvel Comics or whatever stuff you're really into, there's always going to be that one person who's going to know a little bit more or whatever. So don't worry about it. Who cares? Just love what you love and just go into it, man. So yeah.
And now the resources that are available to people that weren't available to us back in the day, like me and Paul, we're the old guys, because I mean, Adam and Neil are several, like Neil's much younger than me. Y'all are
I'm a tech lad.
Yeah, like
I mean, I think I'm like 2 or 3 years younger than you, Zach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were like 24, man. Like,
oh, dude, I'm my birthday was a month ago today. I'm 30 now.
You're dirty 30. That's right. Okay. So like Adam, me, and Paul are from that era of when comics weren't freaking cool, man. Like, we didn't
aren't cool, really, to be honest.
But like going to a comic,
you killed it. Comics killed themselves in that era.
Well, much, like, I mean, look, and a future episode of SPIDEYDUDE Experience is going to be, I'm doing a series where I'm going to be doing the deep dive of the Sony Marvel relationship and the Spider-Man movie rights. It's one of the upcoming series of the show. Like I'm going to do those as pre-recorded episodes for weeks that we're either off, like I'm either going to be out of town or so that's going to be coming this summer.
Also, real quick, a reminder: if you have a question, put it in the chat. We'll do our best.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna. We want your questions. Ask us anything.
Yes, please.
Ask us anything. So
related, though.
I have a question.
I mean, if you've got like something that's comic related, like keep it comic related. I mean, don't ask me about my wedding plans because that's just gonna make me pull the rest of my hair out, and you don't want to know. You want to, yeah.
I remember when you posted that first video or that first photo of you like after you shaved your head, and everyone was like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
I just gotta say too about back when we were kids, Zach, or when I was younger and I was collecting comic books. If I had Marvel Unlimited now or whatever, I would lose my. I would be like over the moon.
My God.
I would, because here's the thing. Even to this day, I don't collect comic books because of key issues. I never was that person. I remember when I was buying comics, I'd see these people be like, "Oh, don't you bag them board?" And I'm like, "No, I read them. I want to have them out available, right?" So, like that's the thing. So, it's one of those things where I never was a speculator. I always was I always wanted to read the story. So if I had a digital way of reading this stuff nonstop, because I always wanted to read these comic books, but I never had access to them because either I was, they were way too expensive because they're, one issue, or they're, $8 an issue, or I was too expensive. It was too expensive to get a trade. So it's right now it's beautiful to have a resource. The problem is it's not marketed right now. That's the problem. There's nothing marketable. There's nothing marketable.
Well,
these series.
It feels like a passion project that somebody started taking on, and it's like, guys, this is an incredible gateway to the Marvel universe.
They just now started like advertising it on Snapchat. Like I'm actually getting ads on Snapchat for Marvel Unlimited, and I suspect it's because of the shared data. Like they data mine on a different website and sell it off to Snapchat.
Yeah.
But really quick second. Here's the problem with what's going on right now. And I think Marvel has to take, Disney especially mainly, is they have these beautiful opportunities to promote comic books and these stories, and they are totally wasting it. The fact that the Avengers and Batman and Wonder Woman are as big as they are right now, and they aren't going out there trying to promote this medium here that has all these ripe stories for them to like sell to people. They're not doing that. And having these online services, why don't you promote on YouTube, for God's sakes? Like that is right for the picking. I don't understand.
I think part of like this carries over from like the Perlmutter days, because Perlmutter was an infamous cheapskate, and
absolutely,
I think at the Iron Man premiere he just put out like stale soda and chips because he didn't want to put out for good food.
This is the guy that, after they did not care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe until Avengers makes $1 billion, and he's then sticking his finger in the pies and literally stresses everybody out to the point where Bob freaking Iger has to step in because Feige goes, look, if I have to deal with this guy anymore, I'm done.
Well, because he didn't want to pay Robert, because I remember this is the reason why they separated, is because they were doing a Civil War pre-production, and Perlmutter didn't want to pay Robert Downey Jr.'s salary because back when the first Iron Man movie was made, Robert Downey Jr. was promised like a cut of like the domestic. There's some like stipulation in his contract. He gets a percentage of like of the total gross, and he didn't want to pay that. So he said, "You're not going to be in Civil War." And then because Iron Man is so pivotal to Civil War, it kind of has to be there. So Feige's like, okay, please give me Marvel Studios, please.
What Downey did is he pulled a Jack Nicholson. Like Jack didn't get paid a ton of money for Batman '89, but he did negotiate a percentage of the box office gross. And when it went bonkers gangbusters, he made more money than he would have ever made with just his negotiated salary. And so that's ultimately like Downey's salary was super low, but he did get on the back end
a truckload of cash. But and here's the thing, and go to your comic shops if they've got back issues. This is a great example right here, Spider-Girl. And I'm reading this because I'm doing my notes for Friday's show. And the great thing, like, I love the trade. I love the trades. I love the ease of having the trades and being able to just pick it up, or the digests in the case of Spider-Girl. They look good on shelves too.
They look great.
Yeah,
they do. They look great. But I will tell you, you lose something not reading the floppies. Like the ads. Like there was this whole, and I'm going to get into this big old rant when I get to Mayday, make my Mayday. But do you guys remember Paul, do you remember the Feel the Rush insert on like every comic during the 98? It was like a drug PSA.
I was out by then because I got out right after the Clone Saga ended. So basically, or I was kind of on peripherally right there, and I bought, I think, the last part of when he took over as Spider-Man again, Peter did, and then Green Goblin and Hobgoblin Norman finally took on the Hobgoblin. That stuff, I was just right there, and then I dropped out again. So I just missed that part, I think.
So this is cover date January 2000. So in the year 2000, they did this drug PSA that ran every other month, that they stuck this like 4-part story called Fast Lane. And it was a drug PSA that they did with like, I can't remember who they did it. I'll go into like the full details on Friday, but it was like this, and just randomly you're sitting there reading this book and you're like, what the hell is this? The artwork's different. This, like, it takes a hard left turn. If you're reading a Spider-Man comic, suddenly the Spider-Man's like in this other, whole other story where there's pot. And like,
to be fair, I would read that story. That sounds actually kind of awesome.
It's very ham-fisted and very over the top, but
as is most like post like war on drugs PSAs.
Yeah, no. So again, and then for me, and they're not in every book. Like I know in Immortal Hulk, they have the letters pages, but the letters pages from back in the day, like you miss those, you miss out on those things. And like if you're reading early Fantastic Four, there's a guy named George R.R. Martin that wrote in a few letters in the early Fantastic Four issues.
Well, Kurt Busiek did too.
Yeah, Kurt Busiek did too.
Didn't Braveheart write in once?
I think Braveheart did too.
Frank Miller did.
I think I almost said Bendis did. I could be wrong on that one. I know Braveheart did.
All right, so Venkman does have a question. He said, I recently found a nice copy of the original first edition trade paperback of the Infinity Gauntlet for a reasonable price. What are some of your favorite trade paperbacks?
Oh man,
so my this is a weird one, but my favorite trade experience has been getting image trades, because behind the scenes the creators have like so much more creative control.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to pick like the paperweight and the cover binding. And it just feels great to have like all these different experiences. Like, I love you, Marvel, but your trade experience, your trade paper is really thin, and they're really thin spined. They could fall apart if I touch them wrong.
They're gonna see
great though.
You want to see how my original Cosmic Adventures trade looks?
Oh,
I mean,
no.
this is bad. Like, and then the front got eaten.
That's like from like 20 years ago.
I know, but like this was in just as good of shape as the one that Venkman got me at one time.
But my favorite trade experience was finding my copy of Down Among the Dead Men, the first Millar Dodson Marvel Knights trade.
Such a good series.
And the thing is, I found it by accident. So this was my first year. This was my first year in college, and I'd been looking for this series forever. And so I walked in. I wasn't even looking for it. I just happened to stumble upon it in the trade section. It was shoved in between the first hardcover of Spider-Gwen and
Is it hard to find or something?
Oh, well, it's out of print, so
Most of the stuff is out of print. But I mean, what's the cover look like, Neil?
I think it's the cover to issue 1.
It's the one with Spider-Man and Black Cat with all the rogues in the background.
Yeah, that was they did a gatefold cover where it was on both sides.
And that was the Spider-Man? That was the Marvel Knights
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Millar Marvel Knights run.
I've never read that before.
So my favorite trades.
Venkman, real quick. Venkman asked me a question. He asked, what Marvel trades? The 6-issue trades, like the ones that release with the ongoings. The Epic collections are actually really good. And if you're looking for like ones that aren't like numbered, and you're just looking for like specific storylines, get the Epic collections.
Yeah.
As a general rule of thumb.
I like that those are numbered, but they're on the back.
Yes.
On the spine.
Yes.
It's like on the spine, and you're not missing numbers if you're.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wish they would be like a little bit better about like the way like the ASM Epic collections are. Instead of making just Epic collections for everything, like what they did with the Clone Saga, for example. So they had the original Clone Saga trade, which collected all of the all of this trade. Okay, every bit that was in this trade was collected in the original Clone Saga Epic, but they also included all the stuff from the 70s, because this only does, or the 80s. So it covers like the Carrion stuff, as well as the infamous Spectacular Annual that retconned everything, made Joyce Delaney a thing, brought in the High Evolutionary.
I can hear.
That's from the 80s, right?
I went to
That
a
was from the
different,
80s, yeah.
I went to a different window, and I didn't even see Zach, and I could hear him like slouching into his chair.
God, like, listen, if they bring in the High Evolutionary of the MCU, I'm gonna have a hard time because, like, that's like the one character that I don't understand. Like, that's such a bad story. Anyway, I love the artwork because it was it was, I think, Bagley's first Spider-Man work. So, like, I can't be upset with it because I love Bagley that much. But it's like, oh, like, this is a bad story. And Jerry Conway is a great writer, but it was like he was trying to figure out a way to explain away the clone stuff. I'm like, dude, it's comics. It's sci-fi. Like, just embrace it. But I love the epic collections of the Clone Saga. The only thing I hate is that, for whatever reason, Volume 3 is got a completely different coloring to Volume 3. So all the Clone Saga trades have a purple spine, except for Volume 3, it's blue. And then you get to the Ben Reilly trades, which are smaller trades, but there's 6 of them, and they're all consistent, and they're black and on the spine. So it looks really nice, and the aesthetic, it's very pleasing.
Right there.
Yeah, right there.
You can see it. You
can see it.
Yeah, like it sticks out like a sore thumb.
You can see it right there.
For our audio listeners.
Oh,
like,
no.
Paul has got it on the shelf behind him.
Yes.
And you can clearly see all the trades, and they're all beautifully, neatly stacked together.
Not only that, though, I've got the original Clone Saga trade right here, and
yeah.
When I bought these, I had to buy them just before I went fully digital, and I was like, I have to get these because I had a bunch of these single issues, but yeah, I had to get this series, and I'm really thankful I got them because now they go for a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So,
my buddy Kevin Cushing, who I used to podcast with back on Crawl Space, it took him forever to get Volume 5 of the Ben Reilly trades for some reason. And he finally, I remember the day he finally ordered it and got it, and he texted me. He goes, "I finally got them all."
Real quick, for any publishers who are listening, who knows who's listening right now, but if you're a publisher and you're listening, take IDW's trades as the pinnacle of what you can print out there. Because, like, okay, so I mentioned like the 6-issue Marvel trades earlier.
Yeah.
And for reference, I own on my shelf a copy of the reprint of the first trade for Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. That has 4 issues, and it's about double the size of the Marvel trade. The paper is insanely thick. Like, it doesn't feel like it's gonna like crumple if I get it too close to water.
Excuse me. Yeah, no. So Vinkman says, I love the epic collections. I have all the Spider-Man ones to date. Kelly Cantu has a question. She says, in my experience, people's first comic with a big character tends to be just the most random issue you can think of. Jumping off of that, what is your first Spidey issues? I can tell you exactly what mine is. Spectacular Spider-Man 223, written by Tom DeFalco, art by Sal Buscema. Unfortunately, it was also inked by Bill Sienkiewicz. I love Bill Sienkiewicz outside of inking. Love Sal Buscema. Don't love them together. That's like a peanut butter and crap sandwich, unfortunately.
For me, oh, sorry.
But no, that was I got it at a Homeland supermarket off a spinner rack.
My first issue was ASM 505. It was Straczynski and I believe Romita Jr.
Yep.
With Jansen on inks, and I'm trying to remember who was on colors.
No, it was Scott Hanna.
Oh yeah, because Scott Hanna did the JMS saga. Why am I thinking of Jansen?
Jansen did Lost Years. He did.
He does all of JR's modern stuff. So that
and I don't know. I don't know if it's JR's pencils or if it's Jansen's inks, but for some reason they used to be like really, really good.
The Dream Team, and then
like they were Lost Year. They did Lost Years together. They also did Man Without Fear together, and it was gorgeous. I don't know if it's just that.
I think I don't want to say they're getting old, but I think that.
Well, I mean, Romita Senior is 90. It means like I think Romita Jr.'s in his 60s. It's not like they're spring chickens, and I'm not meaning that in a derogatory way. It's just that they are not, you know.
The fact that honestly that he's still going is fairly impressive.
Well, you know, I mean,
JRJR or what are you talking
John
about?
Romita Jr.
Yeah, well, I mean,
What do you mean? 60s is not like, dude. 60s is not like you're 90
Yeah.
years old, man.
Well, I'm just saying that's like near retirement age. That was what I'm
I
saying.
mean, but you can't really retire if you're a comic book artist.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not only that, but like Sal Buscema drew forever. I mean,
dude,
it was
Sal
like
Buscema is still inking Ron Friends' work today.
Simonson, I
he's
think,
like 90 years old too.
Yeah.
Simonson, I think, is doing an X-Men book next month. I think.
Yeah, Walt Simonson. Yeah.
Simonson's a freaking icon, so I mean,
Well, him and his wife. I mean,
Well,
they're
I mean, the entire book's point is ending old abandoned X-Men stories, so it makes sense that they would bring them back. But
yeah.
I'm bringing up I'm trying to find the issue right now. I'm so bad with numbers and all that crap. But my first Spider-Man issue. 1 second here. I'm gonna find it. I actually have it somewhere in my collection. I just go pull it out, but I cannot do that. 1 second here.
Yeah, if my office was more organized right now, I would be able, because like I'm gonna buy some of those like cube shelves, and I'm gonna put my long boxes in there. So yeah, no. So Kelly's right. My first comic was right smack dab middle in the Clone Saga. Aunt May was dead. Like that's why I don't like Aunt May. I think is because my first comic had her like dead.
oof.
Yeah, one of my first ones was Amazing Spider-Man 423, I think. It's with Electro on the cover.
Yeah, 423 was Joe Bennett,
Yeah.
Tom DeFalco.
DeFalco.
Because it
Then,
was
like-
supposed to be Steve Skaros, but Steve Skaros
Right.
couldn't keep a deadline to save his life, and so that
For some reason,
Joe
for-
Bennett.
for some reason I got that, the next one, and the -1 issue. I must have had maybe I had like a 3-month subscription or something. I don't know, but I got those, and then like a little bit later, like I guess maybe a couple years later, I had a subscription to Peter Parker, and I think the first issue for that I got was the Identity Crisis thing with Dusk.
Yes. So I've been working on a spreadsheet for great, I don't have my phone. I can't even sign in. That's just lovely. I got my first I've been doing a spreadsheet to start working on my pre-production for Forgotten Era, because I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do month to month to month, or I'm going to do story arc to story arc. So if I'm going to do that, then it's going to be a little different. Plus, I'm waiting to hear back from certain people. So, and I Matt Bird, I know you're in the comments. I did get your email. I will respond to you. Or Matt Unger. I think it was Matt Unger, not Matt Bird. I will respond to you. So I know you're going to watch the playback of this later. So, yeah, so it's been kind of crazy. And I think that's what happened. You had a whole month where they just were like, all right, we're doing the flashback month.
Yeah.
So it just halted production on everything. So Spectacular was in the middle of a storyline. I think ASM was in the middle of the Electro storyline. Like everybody was like in the middle of crap, and then they had to go write this one shot essentially, and then come back to it. Like even to the point, it got to the point where I know on the Spectacular issue, they actually took the first page from the next issue, and then had Stan Lee like pop out and be like, "Don't touch that dial. Here's the flashback month," and you're like,
Yeah.
"What?" So yeah.
All right, I have it. So it took me a second.
Found
to
it on
find it.
Okay, so I'm gonna blow you up there, P Thug.
Okay, so this is my right here, right there.
Ooh.
It's my first issue of I have the original comic here as well. This is the one that I remember the most off the top of my head, that I remember vividly seeing as a young kid. I had the original Secret Wars action figure for Black Spider-Man and regular Spider-Man. I had a crap load of figures, but this one was the one that I remember the most vividly, and I still have. It's falling apart, and Black Cat's in this, and in fact, there's a part where her and Spider-Man team up against Sabretooth, and I always thought Sabretooth was a Spider-Man villain because of this issue. And there's it's written by Peter David. There's a great part in it where Spider-Man is it's great. This is a great example of why I love Spider-Man, and I love comic books, because right here you see Peter is just, like,
right, yeah, the pacing,
yeah, he's just pacing, and it's just above everything. It's great. So yeah, I love this book, and it's funny that Black Spider-Man is that Spider-Man costume is so ingrained in me. It's I grew up as, like, that was his costume. In fact, so when I was collecting Spider-Man, the black costume and the red costume were basically, I thought he just rotated. That's what he was doing, but I mean, that's why I always thought he did. It was like, oh,
right.
It's his red
he
costume.
had two
Yeah, it was natural, like, whatever.
He just has two. He just always had two.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that for a long time. The other issue was the Web of Spider-Man issue with Wolverine in it. That I forgot if it took place. It wasn't before. It obviously must have taken place after Ned Leeds died.
I think I think that might be.
It's 30-something, 33 or 32.
Yeah, I think that's in, I think, the Epic collection, because I think that explained, like, how Ned was Hobgoblin or something.
Yeah, something weird like that. So yeah, those two issues were my Spider-Man specific. I think as far as my first overall comic books, Secret Wars, a bunch of random Secret Wars issues were what I collected. And it goes to show you that a lot of people love to talk crap about Secret Wars, but you know what? It spawned a lot of comic book fans, including me. So, if people want to hate on events and things like that, or aimed at young readers or new readers or whatever, yeah, not all of them are great, but they do a lot of work in bringing people in and keeping people interested. And so it's a balance. But yeah, I think Secret Wars I love Secret Wars, straight up. I'll defend it to the day I die. Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah.
To me, I wish they would do events maybe like every other year, not every year. Yeah. And make them and just spread them out a little bit. But other than that, I completely agree with you.
I'm actually fine with them doing like a bunch of like small mini events, like what they did with 2019 was actually a really good year for that. Like they had Absolute Carnage, you had the Annihilation Scourge thing that no one cared about, but that's okay. You had War of the Realms, and you had House and Powers X. I know you don't like them, Paul, but it was a good year for like.
Hold on, I liked Power of X, or Powers of 10 and House of X. Like, I actually like those series. That's why I was so disappointed when it was over. I'm like, wait, where the hell's Moira?
Okay, because I don't remember you saying you liked those.
No, that's the reason why I was bummed. I thought he was,
Also no Pepe Larraz on art.
That's true too. Pepe is rad.
But I'm fine with them having like these ones that aren't like teases events. Like they're not like, oh, the Marvel Universe will never be the same again, guys. I promise. Whoa.
Yeah, making them more localized, I think, is a much better.
Yeah, you had like a bunch of characters show up in War of the Realms, and that's like the one big event of 2019. But like House and Powers, Absolute Carnage, Annihilation Scourge, 2099. Those were good examples of events that are localized to specific characters rather than like, whoa, guys, the Marvel Universe everywhere. Whoa, tie-ins. Oh, so, that's nice.
While Paul was talking, I unpacked a Carnage here. Speaking of Carnage, Bigman says, I always say my first Spider-Man comic was ASM 362 Part 2 of the original Carnage trilogy, but I vaguely recall having an issue of the Assassination Nation plot that guest starred Captain America in it. That was like, I think the next to last issue was when Cap showed up. That was to talk about other trades, I loved the Marvel Visionary series where they had a Romita Senior. They did 2 volumes of the McFarlane.
They did 3. Yeah, I think they did 3 of those.
They did 3. Yeah. Well, they did a Visionary. Like the first one was Visionaries, and then they went to Like,
Legend. Oh, it was
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
Legends.
Legends, and then they changed it to Marvel Visionaries.
yeah. So I got the 2 Spider-Man Legends for the latter half of the McFarlane run, and then I got the Visionaries for the first one. And then for DC, I have all 3 of the Nightfall trades. So I love 90s comics in general. That's why me and Paul get along so well, even though he likes Dan Slott stuff. So
I love how you like I get along with Paul so well, and then you put like 40 asterisks on the end.
I'm just kidding. No, that's definitely a tease for a later when we get to our Slott debates. And look, I don't hate Slott. In fact, today, Paul, you would be proud. Even though I despise the story, but I couldn't beat the price. I bought the Spider-Verse hardcover.
Oh wow!
Because it was $7 at Ollie's, and so I was like, that's a pretty good deal. So,
For a hardcover, that's like
yeah. And I got the Kamala Khan for same. I got Kamala Khan for the same. So I was like, you know what? This is hardcovers for
And
$7.
I think Spider-Verse is a pretty fun story. I think that's Slott's best work.
I love the idea, but like my problem is that like Silk and it's funny as a fan of Silk I say that, but Silk and Spock take up too much panel time relative to Peter, who's supposed to be the main star of the event.
It's been a minute since I've read it, but when I remember just really enjoying the whole story, and I thought it was a really it was pushing Spider-Man in a direction that we as Spider-Man fans weren't, I would say, even like necessarily ready for or comfortable with necessarily either. But I'm one of the Spider-Man fans. I feel like I can venture out a little bit more, I think, than most typical hardcore Spider-Man fans. And I think that for Slott people, that's why I think I don't mind pushing the character a little bit in different directions is necessarily a bad thing. Now, it's all about, balance, things like that. And everyone's going to know everything. That's reality. But I think that I think that the Spider-Verse specifically was a great introduction to a different way of writing Spider-Man and bring a little bit more outside of the level into more of a cosmic, if you will, storyline. So yeah, I love Spider-Verse. I think it's great.
I love the concept. I was a big fan of it in the 90s, even though John Semper thinks that he created Spider-Verse, but it's not necessarily original concept. Like I'm 90% sure that's a DC concept.
Like all these different characters, if you need to take into account, like not the Crisis, like
yeah, like I mean, but anyway, so I enjoy, and like I say, I enjoy that story. We will definitely get to that in the great Slott debates that we'll be doing later this year, me and Paul. All right, Kelly has a comment. She says, the first time I held a comic was when my brother handed me Watchmen and then immediately took it away because I was 10 and it was Watchmen.
Accurate.
Well, sounds
listen,
right.
I would not want my 10-year-old sister seeing a phallic naked man walking around that's blue and bald. Like, no. That's
on Mars. He's just sitting. He's just
on
sitting
the moon. There. On the moon, just sitting there on the moon or whatever he was at. Like,
It's weird how I've related so much to Dr. Manhattan in the last 3 years. Like I'm tired of these humans. I'm tired of their. I need to find the page where he's just sitting there and he's tired of everything. Hang on.
Well, I mean. So anyway, getting back to also, give us your questions. Oh, Kelly can too. Favorite post OMD era story.
Okay, so I think saying
not
Spencer
called Nick Spencer, not Spencer.
Okay, big time. I know that's a very controversial choice.
Really? Wow, Neil, I'm proud of you. Okay,
let's see. Post one more day era.
I mean the first 12 issues of that era, like ASM 648 to 60.
I can see why. I think that's when Slott, I think, was trying. He was really well organized at that point and had a good definitive direction where he was taking the character at that moment. And I agree with you. And
it's not necessarily like the wow, huge quality stories, but I enjoyed at least some of the ideas, and it wasn't like my first, but it was one of the paperbacks I got, one of my first paperbacks.
Oh, cool.
I think ASM 648 to what was the last issue of the Spider Slayers arc? 654.
Oh, it's been
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely have that. Like, I'm gonna when we get to our slot debates, I'm gonna be like big time era. So I will definitely break that down. My favorite, I love the Flash Thompson issue where it reveals that he had his legs blown off.
Oh, that was
That was a really
great.
fabulous.
Mark Guggenheim, baby.
Guggenheim. I liked Who Was Ben Riley as a concept. I didn't like the whole bit with the Riley family randomly showing up. Like that was kind of weird to me. But in the annual mainly where Peter thought his cousins were hot, that's just no. No. But the Raptor Ben Riley stuff was good. The Return of Kane was great. So I liked that.
Do we count satellite books?
Sure.
No, I'd say ASM.
I would say that with this question, I would stick to ASM.
Okay.
Let's see. I liked the Fantastic Four reveal when he re-revealed his identity to the Fantastic Four.
Oh, the one where he spent like the couple months in the pocket.
Both these stories.
Oh, Kitson. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So just thinking.
Torch Song.
Yeah, Torch Song was good. That was a really good single issue. Anytime Slott wrote the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, it was like, okay, I'm down.
It's funny because his Fantastic Four is trash right now.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It sucks because I was like the guy to say that like I think that's when it was revealed that Slott and Pichelli were doing a Fantastic Four. I was one of the people who was like, Slott's written the Fantastic Four before and he did it really well in ASM. So let's give this a shot.
Those were some of his best ASM issues. Was when he wrote Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and then like immediately I began to regret it because he started writing Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad. And then I'm with you, Neil, and I love Fantastic Four. They're like some of my favorite, characters, and I have a huge Fantastic Four run. I know a lot about them, and being a Slott fan, I was expected to really be into this series, and I gotta tell you,
What do you think of his Iron Man?
I didn't read it. I had no interest in it.
Really? Because that's the one I had more interest in than Fantastic Four. I will admit that I'm not a big Fantastic Four guy.
Oh, I love Fantastic Four.
I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Iron Man, but I'm a huge fan of like the design aspect of Iron Man on an aesthetic level. And it was Valerio Schiti, so.
Well, there's a couple things he did a lot in Fantastic Four, the initial run that he did that I thought were Victorious. I thought was an interesting character, the Herald of Doom. Again, he has good ideas. His execution of these ideas aren't great, and for whatever reason, the art has not really. And I like the artist too, but the art just isn't a good fit. You need
making Frank and Val angsty teenagers was a horrible way of Slott saying, I don't want to write kids, I'm making them teenagers.
Yeah, and also making Franklin quote unquote not a mutant was bullcrap, in my opinion. So I don't know. I was reading Fantastic Four and I just kind of said, you know what, I'm out. So
I think when they introduced Bird Lady to the cast is when I was like, yeah, I'm out. Bye.
Oh, that's right, because he introduced a brand new character, and that was like oh yeah, that's right. The first
the point of origin story.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. See this. There's this. Man, they need.
Here's the thing. If Bird Lady wasn't like a different book, like an Image title, I wouldn't have as big of a problem with it. But it's because it's like she's so invasive on Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, Fantastic Four always had these really interesting or somewhat interesting side characters. Like you had, Wyatt Wingfoot, who was a good supporting character.
But right now it feels particularly invasive because the book is already chock full of supporting characters.
Exactly. No, we're on the same page, dude, because that's the problem right now is that Fantastic Four was limited to like basically 6-7 people. That was it.
Now we have like 12.
Yeah, 12. And especially when Hickman was starting to go crazy there for a minute when he brought in the Future Foundation.
And he made it a different book, though. That's what made it work, though, is because the Future Foundation was a different title.
But they were interacting so much, it became, in my opinion, I think Hickman's Fantastic Four is overrated. That's straight up my opinion. It's not bad. It's overrated, though. 100%.
All right, so Sarah has a question. I'll get to her in a second. Bavinkman says, when I quit Modern Comics last year, I sold all my Spider-Man books from 1999 to present. decision he doesn't regret. But the one slot story he has collected in collected edition form is the Spider-Man Human Torch hardcover, which I will say that was the story. If you go back in my own continuity of me podcasting since 2006, back in 2006, I said that I wanted Dan Slott strictly because of that 4-issue miniseries. So
Was it 5?
No, 5-issue miniseries. Yeah. So I be careful what you wish for sometimes, folks.
Yeah, I was gonna say back when Slott was revealed to be on the Webheads, the creative team, the rotating creative team. Everyone was like, "Yeah, it is a good choice." And
oh my god, I interviewed the guy. Like I had a full blown interview with him, and he was great. And even he was putting up with the fact that I was at a Cowboys game. He rolled with it. It was so great.
Did they win?
They did win. It was against the team formerly known as the Native Americans.
Washington.
Yeah, it was Washington. Which always is a fun game because you have the way too big contingent of Washington fans that specifically go to those games just to troll Cowboys fans. It's that rivalry. But Sarah has okay. I don't know how much Paul's gonna be able to talk about this. So I'm going to give Paul a pass if he doesn't want to talk about it because he has a whole show talking about the MCU. But she asked, can we talk about the new Spidey movie? What's everyone's thoughts, feelings, concerns, speculations?
I don't care.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I do not think until I see a trailer
Right.
that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back.
These are the same people that want mutants to be in the MCU so badly. And
yeah,
every time a new WandaVision episode comes out, it's like, look, guys, mutants! Whoa!
Well,
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's the same.
Twitter is a flutter. I mean, everybody just is now assuming that it's going to be multiversal, and I'm like, no, they set this entire movie up with the finale of the last one, which was the outing of Peter's identity. So, spoilers. But
it's been 2 years.
But at the end of the day, like they're going to have to deal with that aspect. Now, whether they bring in Doctor Strange and stuff like that, I could see that happening because that's what happened in the comics.
I think he's confirmed for the team up person because remember they said that he was going to have like basically a team up in each one.
Which again, I'm kind of like, can we not just have a MCU Spidey movie? Why do we have to have a But because like even Mysterio was kind of a team up. We had Nick Fury teaming up. So again,
don't drop it.
So I do have to. I have a question. What do you guys think of Benedict Cabbage Patch being in Spider-Man 3?
Listen, I liked the interactions that they had in Infinity War.
Wait, did I just say Benedict Cabbage Patch?
Yeah, you did.
You did. I just ignored it. I just ignored it.
No.
I'm just ignoring you. I'm putting you on mute. You're on timeout right now. So, but Sarah says, heresy, Toby is coming. I'm speaking it into existence because Tobey Maguire is her Spider-Man. So that's why
I think he might be in Doctor Strange too.
I would truthfully, and I'll be honest, they have a much better chance of getting him into Doctor Strange than they do Spider-Man 3, just because of who is directing Doctor Strange 2.
Right.
But yes, Vinkman says mutant is now a trigger word for our pal Kelly McDaniel. Kelly, not McDaniel, but Kelly Kansu says, I just hope they give the spotlight to Peter for once. And look, I think that this is going to be very much a Peter-driven story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something that I do believe that we kind of started seeing Peter becoming his own person. In that was the one great element I feel of Far From Home, even though there was a lot of things wrong with that movie. I felt like towards the end we were getting Peter, the coming of age of Peter Parker, so to speak. So I feel like that this one's going to be very. That's why I don't feel like they're going to be. I mean, yes, Doctor Strange is going to be in the movie, but that's why I don't feel like it's going to be. It's going to be okay. How does Peter Parker's world pick up the pieces from being outed as a teenager, not as an adult, not as
who,
somebody
who made the decision, albeit under like a lot of pressure, but he made the decision himself.
Right, exactly. In the comics, he makes the decision himself, whether you
Yeah.
agree with it or not, and we can get into that because I know I'm going to circle back to what question from earlier about the One More Day stuff. But yeah, I just want to see a good character-driven Peter Parker story that, yes, if it has some MCU frills, I'm down for it. Look, I don't think that they're failures as movies. I think they're B+ movies, B+, B- movies, B movies.
That's
which
fair.
is
I think that's fair.
I like them, but I have problems with them, and I can be okay with that. Like
They are competently shot movies to the theme of Blitzkrieg Pop.
Sure.
well, and I will say this: like
Wow.
I was devil's advocate when I was on that other show. And I was getting mercilessly ridiculed for the fact that this is. I made the point. This is what if the Marvel Universe starts with Iron Man? So
Yeah.
yes, Iron Man is going to be. It's not. What if the Marvel Universe started with Fantastic Four? In a
Why
perfect
can't people
world,
understand that? I don't understand. Like they think that like, oh, you add Spider-Man and it has to be like everything has to revolve around Spider-Man. The problem is that that's not reality. That's not the reality at all. The whole reason this even exists is because Iron Man and the Avengers became these huge properties for Disney, and Sony screwed it up so much they had to go with their tail between their legs. Go back.
I do think.
here's the thing, and this is
real quick. I think that retroactively they've been trying to push like Spider-Man, Iron Man are perfect. Like Tom Holland tried to push he was the kid in Iron Man 2. I'm like, okay,
that's fine.
You're pushing your envelope a little bit, but I can buy it.
Here's the good news. That's just like what the comic books would do all the time. They'd take Easter eggs and turn things into like these characters or whatever. That's like tailor made for that stuff. Who cares? The reality is that Sony needs Iron Man and the Avengers. If they didn't need them, we'd have like 500 Sinister Six movies by now. So I mean, come on.
And at the end of the day, and this is something that people need to understand, and I want to make this abundantly clear to everybody that's listening. Okay, Disney made the deal because they came out ahead. They're making passive income as a company. The people that are driving the Sony movies are the people at Sony. Sony's assuming all the expenses. The only thing that Marvel has control of is creative. And they had control of the casting of Tom Holland. But I think Sony did everything else. Sony was the one, they're shooting everything on Sony cameras. Sony's doing all the locations. Yes, they're working with Marvel, but like Sony is assuming all this cost. And yes, they're getting the bulk of the income back. But guess what? So Disney's getting a cut, and they don't have to do hardly anything. They just have to smile and look pretty, basically. So to dovetail into Kelly's question, she says, question, opinions on the rumors that we're going to get a college trilogy too. Would you be up for that? Or should they just go on their head? I will say this. I am down for a Tom Holland-led college era Spider-Man.
I would be too. But I just don't think it's going to happen.
If they let
I don't know, man.
If you go off of like Amy Pascal's comments, I think they're alleged, but like the ones where she goes like, "We need you to be a little boy again," because he just got off of filming Uncharted, because he plays Nathan Drake in Uncharted, and Amy Pascal is like, "We need you to be a boy again," which is a weird comment to make, but
but it's Amy Pascal. Should we be surprised at this point?
No, but I'm just saying there is a certain etiquette that like you continue to falter on, but I have this worry that they're going to that Tom Holland is like cute little boy Peter Parker, who's consistently like 5'10" and sounds like he hasn't hit puberty yet.
Yep.
Well, he talked about that in the GQ interview.
He said he had to raise his voice up a couple octaves.
Like he talked about that. He's like, dude, he's like, no. When I went from doing this really serious film with the Russo brothers to having to go like raise my, and I'm like at this point like I am good with, let him graduate, let him become a college student, because quite frankly, and this is something that I really, and Paul, you could probably jump all over me. I am so sick and tired of the fetishization of the high school years of Peter Parker. There was 27 issues of Peter Parker in high school in Amazing Spider-Man. The rest were in college and after.
And even in Spec, in the cartoon, they didn't focus on him being in school that much. That was more just a backdrop.
They made it a magnet school. So they made it for kids that were smart and that kids that were athletic. And the way they did it was high school's kind of important. And they were going to go through, there was high school elements. They did the dance and they did
the grades.
They did finals. The grades. They did finals. Like it was, the whole concept was the education of Peter Parker. But the original plan was to do 5 seasons, and then they were going to do the direct-to-DVDs, and that was going to be all in the college era. And, that was going to probably do more of those college-era stuff. They were, by doing an adaptation, you could take all the best elements of Spider-Man, like they did with Spec, and that's what made Spec work. But, I get Venkman. I'm not a fan of Iron Man Jr., but by comparison, he despises the Spider-Verse version of Superman far more than the MCU Spider-Man.
To be fair, at the very least, Spider-Man doesn't float around in 9/11 city.
Well, to be fair, and I hate it for Henry Cavill. I thought he was a great casting.
He's honestly a guy if there was some if they ever reboot the DCEU or just do independent independent stories that don't rely so much on the Avengers style format.
Yeah,
just bring him back. He's unfortunately wasted by a producer and a director who focus on Jesus symbolism more than they do on an actual script.
Grimdark.
Hey, I have to bail, guys, but I will all see you later.
Paul, you'll be back next week probably for next issue of
yes.
If barring anything unforeseen, obviously, but we'll be definitely covering. We'll be covering issue 61, hopefully.
Yes,
so,
and hopefully I'll have some fun announcements next week. So we'll see.
Or
maybe we'll see. Well, not announcements, but we can talk about what's. Yeah, you'll see. Hopefully,
we'll give you some time.
We'll give you a wide berth.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, Zach.
Good night, Paul. We'll see you next time.
See you, Paul.
I'm just saying, Zach. When you got an H.R. Geiger style spaceship, that's not a good sign.
Well, and I don't want to get into delving into
Prometheus.
I don't want to get into the whole Snyderverse thing because that's going to bring me into the whole hashtag Save Spectacular Spider-Man, and that's just going to get my blood boiling because I've literally
we did an entire segment on last episode.
Yeah,
this, so.
and things happened afterward, and I'm like. I love our fans and I love people that want to sit there and call me a hater for no reason because I'm just, giving them, I'm not going to sit there and lie to them. I'm not going to sit there and here's the thing. And I'm going to tell you right now as a listener, for those that are listening to me right now, I'm going to shoot you straight. If there's anything that anybody has learned, and Vinkman's been watching me for years, I'm going to shoot you straight. I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to try to back it up with facts as much as I can. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. If I know something that is to be true, I'm going to tell you that truth, and I'm not going to be a jerk about it, but I'm just going to be factual. And especially when it comes to Spec Spidey, because of the people that I know that were intrinsically involved with that series, don't come at me and say that I'm a hater when I did 51 episodes thus far. Going to be recording the 52nd episode very soon. So leave your feedback. 818.
Also, I just realized can you pull up my screen share real quick? Because going back to ASM speculation.
Yeah. I wish that Paul didn't have to leave, but
yeah. Okay, so can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, so
for those that are listening to us on the audio version, I've got the scan that he made blown up on the screen.
Okay, so everything is connected to this plot point tangentially, and considering that I think King's Ransom is meant to be the culmination of that plot line.
Yeah. This
one I think is going to end. Whether or not the rest do, this one is a certainty.
Right.
Kingpin, yeah. Here's my little B question to that. Do we think that do we think Kingpin's going to be mayor after this still?
I don't know. I think he might be because he's Kingpin he's mayor over in Daredevil, and that's a fairly important plot point.
Okay.
I think that they are probably I feel like that they are working together to make sure that they're not stepping on each other's toes. But I would think that Fisk is going to worm his way out of whatever trouble that he gets in and still maintains his mayorship.
By saying the gang war made him do it.
Yeah, basically, I kind of feel like what we saw a couple of issues ago with all the gang members. He's
Like,
going to basically
you had Owl, you had Black Mariah, you had Tombstone,
Yeah.
Mr. Negative, Hammerhead. You know, all
which
the
leads to the Randy and Janice aspect, which leads to the feminist syndicate.
and then Boomerang Gog. These are kind of all tied together through Boomerang,
Yeah.
who's tied to Randy / Janice, who's tied to the Syndicate, who hate Boomerang. I only put down Robbie. I say inevitable because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
But it's going to happen. Like issue 63, or was it 64? One of the covers basically took out an air horn and blared in your ear.
Yeah.
We're going to do this plot line.
So I think we're going to kind of take a little break with Kindred right now and Sensitive Norman. Maybe we'll have that as like a side plot.
Yeah,
I think that might be like
that's
every
good.
once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, the Mysterio stuff. If you have not read the MJ series, I highly recommend you do so. But
these over here need to get some follow up on though. The clairvoyant. That I thought that was Untitled Last Remains. I was completely off the ball on that. one.
Listen, to me, the clairvoyant aspect, I want to say it's going to tie into the Mephisto stuff, and I don't know why, but my gut's telling me that that's going to tie into the Mephisto, which ties back into Kindred. So again, Kindred's kind of the center of the web, as you would say, of this wonderfully done flowchart. Which I will post when I post the audio version of the episode. I will post this.
I will go into Canva and I will make a official version.
Yeah. So, and we'll update it as we go. But like, this is a very good visual aid for those that are listening to us. Go watch us on YouTube or join our Discord, or just join the Discord and it's in the Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, go to the Discord link.
I actually think the clairvoyant is going to stay fairly self-contained to the Chance Palace plot line. Because what's his name? Jaime, the study
Jamie,
buddy.
Yeah, he was using it at the palace.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like its own separate plot point. Everything on this end is going to be fairly self-contained. What we'll call the Western or the Western Hemisphere
of this chart.
Yeah, because it's all related to Peter, whereas MJ has this part. We'll call it the Northeastern Hemisphere, and then the Southeastern and Eastern Hemispheres are dedicated to the Kingpin stuff.
So yeah, and like I say, this is definitely, again, we're getting into year 3,
and this isn't. Also, I want to disclose this is insanely speculative. This is mainly just me going off of covers and solicits, and solicits have been notoriously hard to rely on in Spencer's run.
Yeah, no, I'll say this too. You got to look at Spencer's run as kind of like issue 29 is kind of a line of demarcation. Issue 60 is now a line of demarcation. So every 30 issues, we're getting, building towards this thing. And obviously, this was the first question. SoFlo Entertainment, which you have not checked out his channel, go check out his channel on SoFlo Entertainment on YouTube. Great guy. Do you think OMD will be retcon, undone, or dealt with? Yes.
I think we'll compound them.
Right.
dealt with is like the bare minimum, and with ASM 60 and Strange basically going, hey, Mephisto, what's wrong with Peter Parker's soul or gangster style?
That's not how you hold. By the way, that's not how you hold a gun. As a native Texan, that's not how you hold a gun. Anyway.
No,
but
it's compounded on. So can you pull the question again real quick?
Yes.
So it was retconned, or was retcon the second option, or
retcon was the second option. So will be retconned, undone, or dealt with.
So
I would argue it was retconned with omit, but go on.
Mm-hmm. So dealt with is like the bottom line, like that. We basically know we're getting this addressed.
Right.
Undone is probably the next most likely thing, and then retcon. I doubt it'll be like outright retcon because that would involve like undoing 10 years of Marvel Comics.
Yeah,
and the less time shenanigans we have.
Yeah. Yep.
I understand. I hate Jason Aaron's Avengers too, but it's not worth killing the entire 10 plus years of post one more day over.
Yeah. Again, I think it needs to be addressed. It needs to be dealt with. I don't think it needs to be retconned. I think I think
Because
it needs to be
just as-
resolved.
That's just
Yeah.
like retconning is just as cheap as the original deal itself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Because Peter has
Exactly.
it. Because part of what makes Peter appealing is that he deals with the consequences of his actions,
Yep.
and just getting away scot free with.
I don't know if we'll get the marriage back, but I could see
A marriage.
some kind of proposal. I don't even think that. I think it may be a proposal. And Peter Parker's just going to be engaged to Mary Jane, and that's going to just
like the Batcat stuff after King's Run ended.
not quite like that, but like just to
Not
have
like-
an engagement. And look, next year is going to be the 60th anniversary.
Yep.
I know that they're probably already planning this because of how far out they're planning this stuff. So obviously he's going to get a big event next year.
Yep.
Could it be the marriage? Sure. I could see it with this writer and this staff. Absolutely could see it happening.
I think it would be great if like Spencer just kind of pulled the rug out from under us and they got like married at City Hall or something like that. Like the comedy of it was just them sitting in line.
That's where they got married
Right.
the first time.
Well, I know, but like instead of like an actual ceremony, they get like just like the comedy comes out of them just sitting in
And the
City
and
Hall.
guess who
waiting
know-
for-
And guess who the
No.
witness is? Guess who the witness is?
It's Boomerang, of
Yup.
course.
You know what would be really funny, and it would tie into Mephisto. If they get married in Vegas.
Oh.
Oh, what if that's where the premiere of MJ's movie is?
Oh,
Well, they would do that in L.A. though.
I
don't know, man. Now
this is Kindred and Mysterio we're talking about. They
Yeah.
would do some tomfoolery to get MJ to Vegas.
I do like
Yeah.
tomfoolery.
there's a reason I subscribe to the headcanon theory that the original Spider-Man continuity ended in 1998 and switches over to NC2.
So I
It
forgot
does
to
make
put
things
on
simpler.
the graph. I forgot to put on the graphic, but it can be considered like an offshoot to the Mysterio stuff, and that's the
Just
premiere of MJ.
good one, Kelly.
One issue later, like Randy's like, "Hey Pete, MJ, where have you been?" Like they're like, "Oh yeah, we got married."
Yeah, we just elope behind the editorial's back, not behind the reader's back. No, it's behind editorial's back. No, honestly, I think the Brevoort influence has started to wane.
The
And
boys'
I-
club is gone.
Yeah, and look, Brevoort is the ultimate company man. He's been there so damn long.
Yep.
He's been through. He worked there. I think he started maybe during the end of Shooter's reign, if I'm remembering correctly. I know he was there during the DeFalco era. He was there during the 5 editors-in-chief fiasco. He was there during Bob Harris, Joe Quesada, Axel Alonso, and now CB Cebulski. So, like, he's been there so long that he's almost an institution. But, like, Nick Lowe is if there's any, if I have a criticism to Nick Lowe, and it's that he doesn't tighten the reins enough on his writers, but he lets the writers write. And he lets the creators create, and I do give him credit for that. But I just wish that he would give a little bit of like, okay,
He would
can we
tug on.
condense-
He would give a tug on the reins a little. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So
Like we don't need this this gigantic one shot of. The artist looks good though. I looked into them. They're the ones that did the Batgirl and the Birds of Prey book for Rebirth.
Nice.
So
all right, we're kind of getting to about an hour 45.
real quick, do we want to talk about the Illuminati article and like laugh at it?
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
go ahead and pull it up because like,
Here, I'll put it in the private chat so you can.
or your screen's doing better than me sharing mine, so let's just share it on your
Okay.
screen. So
Grain of salt, by the way, incredibly thick grain of salt. Like, imagine
So-
like this but bigger.
Yeah.
So okay, the Illuminati they've been doing some speculative stuff. I don't know how good this source is. So
I honestly think it's BS. But who used it as a source? Hang on, let me check.
discussing film.
Oh,
the Twitter account.
all right, so yeah, let me set this up for our audio
I
listeners.
think, I think he does legit stuff, but I don't know.
So
He usually covers legit stuff.
Marvel.
I don't know.
Okay, so Sony is developing a Silk TV series
For Amazon Prime.
for Amazon Prime. It's going to be so it's going to be available to Amazon Prime members and Amazon Prime Video. It is going to be, I think it's tangentially tied, depending on the new Sony deal, which we do not have WikiLeaks has not leaked that information out yet. But
we just need to get North Korea mad enough again.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think Kim Jong-un hasn't gotten mad yet again, so they're not going to hack into Sony servers like they did the last time. But so we don't know for sure. Now we got some hints that maybe the Sony stuff is going to tie more into the MCU, meaning that Venom and Morbius especially are going to be stuff that's going to tie into the Sony universe of Marvel characters. I think is the official title of it, which is an awful
I think it's
title.
I think it's the Marvel Cinematic
No,
wait,
Marvel-
it's just Marvel
No,
Universe of Sony or Sony Universe of Marvel characters.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I
yes.
just said.
Some.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
I'm
Neil.
sorry. I'm sorry. I needed to
Pay
make it-
attention.
I needed to say it in my head for it to make sense.
All right. Anyway, so there's allegedly going to be a Silk series it's in development, and so they've made
They've announced that their source has announced a showrunner and allegedly a lead.
and this is again in the very early stages of production. I would assume the next virtual con they'll probably do something. So
I think we got we know this.
She's supposed to be Peter's age, I think.
she's supposed to be the same age as Peter. Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, just making her like a late teens, early 20s college student would just be way easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurately this is going to be to like the original comic she appeared in.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
I imagine not very close, considering we don't talk about Original Sin.
Good. Good.
Yeah. Probably a good thing we don't. So Neil, I'm going to let you kind of take the reins on this. So.
Okay, as one of the 10 Silk fans, I have a vested interest in
Yep.
this show.
Uh-huh.
And also as someone who has a trial version of Amazon Prime until I graduate. Oh,
Mhm.
bye, Zach.
Well,
So allegedly, I need to preface this. This is allegedly because this is Illuminati and they just make shit up all the time.
mm,
So allegedly, Sang Kyu Kim is locked in as the showrunner, and it'll be produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. And then they've met with Chilling Adventures of Sabrina's Adeline Rudolph,
really?
likely for the lead role. Again, likely for the lead role. No talks or confirmations. So
Yeah.
allegedly, I think this is the casting call. So a Korean American between 19 and 29 years old, a kid from Queens who is on her own for the first time, total beginner in law enforcement and fighting crime, but loves the feeling of beating up criminals to let her frustrations out, and has an affinity for 80s and 90s pop culture. So
How valid is that? Not the. I know the pop culture thing is kind of a thing because she's like talking about Pokemon or whatever.
the bunker stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly think like this feels like an amalgamation of this casting call feels like an amalgamation of like the identity of like a Korean American girl
Uh huh.
mixed with like Spider-Gwen and like Spider-Verse Miles.
Mm. Well,
Like the love of music and pop culture. That's like
Right.
I know that's a thing for her in her solo book,
Uh-huh.
but they were a bit more aggressive with it for Miles and Gwen. So I feel like they're just kind of like siphoning off traits to graft onto Cindy, hoping that it makes like a unique character, which could work.
It could work. I don't know. Yeah.
Again, I want to stress that this is Illuminati, who
Right.
are notorious for just making things up. But if discussing film is citing them as a source, I don't think that
Maybe.
that necessarily vindicates them.
Right.
But I'm going to look at it.
Sure. It seems if Lord and Miller are producing, that would, I guess, I would assume it would make it part of the Spider-Verse thing that they've set up with the movie, I guess. So then I don't know, this could be one of the, alternate
Like one of the Spider-Verse.
yeah, one of the like alternate universes that was established in the animated film, I guess.
Well, actually, did some looking into Adeline Rudolph because I've never seen Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This actually looks fairly bang on for who you would cast as Cindy.
Yeah. So, like I say, sorry,
If Zach doesn't come back, he's going to talk about Transformers for the rest of the stream.
No.
Okay, guys, it's Combiner Wars time. Let's talk about the worst Transformers of 2010s.
No. The answer to that question is no. That's not going to happen. No, I for some reason when I hit backspace because I was trying to type in my private chat, it like kicked me completely off the stream. I was like, that's nice. Thanks. So, yeah. Sorry, folks. Yeah, like I say, I'll watch it. It's Spider-Man related.
I've already got Amazon Prime. I watched Jack Ryan and the Boys, and I'm gonna watch Invincible. So it's like this feels more like a bonus to getting Amazon Prime than like, oh, I have to get it for this.
Well,
Right.
it's interesting because Sony doesn't have a streaming service. They're the only major studio
Don't they
now
have
that
Crackle?
Sony does not have a major streaming service.
I mean, that I guess, but that's like free and
So
has ads
isn't that
and-
where they put Spec on?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, unfortunately, like right now, Sony is so far behind.
I said this before.
Everybody.
They have some kind of deal with Stars. Like they have. I
Who
know
owns
that
Stars?
No one has Stars. No one subscribes to.
I do
movie channels
sometimes.
They had okay. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the because like I'm a Smallville fan, and the fall of Allison Mack fascinates me.
Oh yeah.
So I watched that next. I did the free
Yeah, right.
trial.
That's on that. Yeah.
So I did the Stars trial, and it was like, man, this story is just utterly horrific, and I feel really bad for everybody that was involved. But also, like, I think I'm going to look up who owns Stars because this is bothering me now.
Actually, shit, I had a thing I wanted to say. I remembered. Before the stream started, I sent this over to Zach, and I was like, Silk beats Spider-Man to the optimum medium for a comic book storytelling. Because, like, I think Spider-Man shouldn't be in a movie. He should be in a TV series.
And me
I
and
agree.
Paul were disagreeing with you, and I was like, I understand that, and I agree with you. I think, okay, they're owned by Lion Gate.
He should.
Or owned by CBS, I think.
Are they?
Who owns Lionsgate? Is it Universal? I think it's Universal that owns Lionsgate.
Oh, that's really weird. All right, so yeah, because you got all these subsidiaries of subsidiaries of subsidiaries, but
Yeah.
no, again, I agree with you. I think Spider-Man works better as a series, not as a movie. They've done a good job with the films.
You get to spend more time with each character, and
That's why I feel like he's worked so well in animation.
Yes, that's why it should be. I mean, all this stuff really should just be in cartoons if you get right down to it. I think.
She goes. So Kelly Kansu says, "I know it's probably not going to happen, but those fake Agent Venom series rumors got my blood pumping last year."
I'm not letting the little dweeb who plays Flash in the
Jeez.
movies in
No.
Homecoming be
No.
Agent Venom. That'll be like the biggest tonal whiplash for that character I've ever seen.
Oh God, and he's my least favorite part. I hate the Penis Parker joke. It's not funny. It's stupid. I get we can't do puny Parker because, like,
That's
It's
not,
2021.
that's not a hit, and that's not a banger of a joke in year 2017.
I get it. It's a banger of a joke now, but like, oh God, like, come on, man.
Here, I'm willing to not necessarily defend it, but like the way I can see it is like they see like Flash is supposed to be like a dumb idiot, kind of like smart, like smarmy rather than like actually smart.
Uh-huh.
So that's what he thinks is funny, and so
Man, that was some weird feedback.
I have no idea what that was.
I had no idea what it is either.
The stream is turning against us.
Yeah, it's because we're hitting almost the 2-hour mark.
But but The Boys is made by Sony too, isn't it?
I think so.
So if they got like the same,
Again,
like,
Sony Pictures Television
Is everywhere. They have stuff on AMC. They have stuff on. What was I watching? Well, they have stuff on Stars.
they still own Jeopardy. They still own Wheel of Fortune, both of which are really incredibly lucrative. Even with Alex Trebek's passing, like they're still making a good amount of money.
If they get like a good host like LeVar, I think LeVar Burton is scheduled to take a slot.
Yeah, everybody like a lot of people like the producer of Jeopardy that did the 2-week stint. Like a lot of like what I was reading on Jeopardy, like with Jeopardy fans, they really responded to him because I think he gets he watched Alex for so long.
I'm gonna turn off my screen share just
so that I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. This is not the Jeopardy podcast, but but I will post this. What Vinkman says. He says, "I always used to find it amusing that a really young Allison Mack appears in Police Academy, but after everything we learned in recent years, yikes." Yeah. The answer to that statement is yeah. And it's really funny to listen to Guy Rosenbaum try to talk about it. He's like, yeah, she was just a sweetheart on set. What else do you want me to say? Like, nobody knew that she was a sexual deviant, okay?
Oh, God.
So, again, and I feel she's just almost as much a victim as everybody else, but that's just me. She did some horrific things, and that she needs to, answer to those things. But like, I think she was very much manipulated by Rainier. But again, not the appropriate place to talk about that. But
not the true crime podcast.
Yeah, definitely not the true crime podcast. But so I want to talk a little bit briefly about the next several months because we haven't done one of these live streams at all this year. We did a few last year. This is definitely an official episode of Spideydude Experience, but very much off the beaten path. So if this is your first time listening,
God.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, this kind of
I'm really glad that we got
blew
it
up on us a little bit. I think
Kelly Cantu became a subscriber, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I'm glad that she's participating.
I hope we didn't scare her away.
No, she's still here.
She's still around. She's still posting comments. But
I'm talking about in the future.
She's been here for 2 hours. I think she can live with us every week.
Okay, good.
Listen, she gave us a very
so.
high compliment at the very beginning. She says,
well, she's asking like really good questions of us, like,
Right.
She's like, "Hi, very recently found out about this channel, and I've got to say you guys have the best takes. So thank you again to Kelly.
She gave us a heart.
She gave us a heart. So, but we're gonna do some exclusive Patreon stuff. Vinkman kind of is being we're
Patient.
He's being patient, but also we're doing some mad scientist stuff with him behind the scenes. We're kind of bouncing back and forth. He's throwing ideas at us. If you become a member of the Patreon, it's your community. So we want to hear from you if you become a member of the Patreon. So go to patreon.com/SpideyDude Network. So we're going to have some exclusive Patreon stuff that is coming. But I've alluded to it several times this episode. I wish he was still here, but me and Paul are going to do the Dan slot debates.
The great slot debate.
The great slot debate. It's going to be about 5 parts long, so 5 episodes of the Spideydude Experience are going to be the slot debates. I want to give ample amount of time for both of us to prepare. I think we may be having this guy who's next to me in the box help moderate it. So will Neil, I'm sure. I'll
probably be getting in on like the big time era debate.
Yeah, so I am probably going to be the anti-slot. I'm putting that in air quotes. I dislike a good chunk of slots work, but I will concede that there's things about slots run that I do like. So I'm not like, I just hate Dan slot sucks, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, I'm not. I almost broke the Trump out and I stopped myself.
Look, there he is, the great Linkara. Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
Don't give
So-
him his jacket.
Get him the hell out of here.
But at the end of the day, like we're gonna do these slot debates. We're also gonna do this. I'm gonna do the Sony series. Those are gonna be probably pre-recorded, and I'm gonna get some software. That's one of my next purchases, and I'm gonna make some videos about the Sony Spider-Man relationship. So I'm looking really forward to that, and how that started, the history of Spider-Man in film, and we'll get it. We'll go, and I think we're gonna do some commentaries this summer. Maybe we'll do the Raimi films, and then we'll go into the web films, and then do the MCU Spidey films.
There we go.
That'll be kind of fun. We may make those Patreon first, and then 6 months after the fact we'll release them to the general public or something like that. So that, I don't know. We got some ideas. If you've got ideas, leave me an email at clonesoccerchronicles@gmail.com or sorry, SpideyRadioNetwork@gmail.com. You can email both. I have both. We are going to wrap Clone Soccer Chronicles this year. We are going to do a big finale of CSC. Probably going to do it on the channel. So kind of give CSC its farewell, so to speak. Forgotten Era is in development. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to try to do something a little different. I know I mentioned last episode that I'm looking for a cast, but it's kind of contingent upon some people responding to me about the idea, and I'm hoping that if I get a good response and we get that ball rolling, then it may be pushed back to the fall just because I want to get a really good buffer before. And there's Waylon, the official mascot of the Spidey Radio Network.
Hey, wait.
But if I'm going to do that the way I'm looking to do it, it's going to be I'm going to get a big buffer, release the first episode, and just keep up. And we'll do like actual if people that I'm trying to get a hold of are willing to do live streams, we'll do live streams. But I want to do at least a few episodes pre-recorded, so that way we get kind of the feel of everything. If they gotta get back with me first. But if my idea comes to fruition with Forgotten Era, it would be a big coup of Spidey history. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give too much more away because I don't want to say something on the show and then it never happened. So again, we're also I am going to try to interview the creators of the books for that show. That is something that I am actively going to try to get done.
You got to do that.
So that's definitely going to happen. Obviously, Make My Mayday is going to continue to try to be as weekly as possible, as well as this show. If I had a third weekly, I'm going to probably pull my hair out, and Sarah might kill me, like literally dead. But yeah, we're really excited about this year.
And I'm trying to get my thing weekly now too. So
yeah, and again, Neil's show, Bogan Rider Variety Hour, which you can see every Saturday night. I don't know where that howling is coming from.
It is not me.
That's the wind outside my apartment.
Okay.
I was like, good lord.
It's giving everything this eerie feeling, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So Bogan Rider Variety Hour, 8 p.m.
Welcome to my R.L. Stein roleplay server.
Yes.
Bogan Rider Variety Hour, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights on twitch.tv/Quillsniv. Don't put the extra dot in there. Don't ask me why it's there. Fix that. So yeah, go to that. You can follow, if you like Paul, you can follow him on Twitter at Herman22.
There it is.
You can also follow Enchilada Legs, which is Adam.
That's me.
On Twitter. And then you can follow me at SpideyDude and at SpideyDude Radio. Those are the various places you can follow. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap. Guys, I'll give you a brief kind of chance to do some final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up.
The future is bright.
Yeah. So, like I say, we'll
Yeah.
take a couple more comments, but we're gonna wrap this episode up after we do, and kind of do the outro. Hopefully, I don't screw this one up like I've screwed up the last two on Make My Mayday.
Also, I will for Boat Rider Variety Hour. I do take requests for books to read. So if you have a book that you want me to talk about, or just you don't want to read and you want me to suffer instead, let me know, and I will put it into the reviewing list, because I do the reviews show every 2 or 3 weeks to give myself content to talk about.
Yeah.
So I sent Zach a list of stuff for this week's show, and he was like, "Oh God."
It made me want to just drink. It's all I wanted me to do. I was like, "Oh man,
It's quite an itinerary he's got for this one.
it's a very ambitious one," and I'm going, "Good luck to you, buddy."
I'm getting demonetized for sure.
Yeah. Twitch is gonna be like, "Nope."
Out
so
with you.
They're live on Twitch, but they're going to be broadcast here on Facebook. Not on this channel, but on Neil's channel as well.
And they'll be
also,
and they will be exported to YouTube.
Yeah, they'll be exported to YouTube. So you can see them on YouTube, or you can watch them live on Twitch. There is a new show that's coming. It's probably the worst kept secret on the network, but it will be announced on the final episode of Spec Radio, which, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we're going to record in 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks. So I need your feedback for Spec Radio. So leave us an email at specradio@gmail.com, 818-925-6631. And if you want your voicemail played live, you can, because I can do things like this.
With great power comes great responsibility.
There you go.
You're not my father.
You know,
You do too much. You're not Superman, you know.
that's
There you
true.
go.
I
Yeah,
forgot
Zach.
Yeah, I know, right? I really try to do too much sometimes. So, but yes, so I'll be able to play your voicemail live thanks to this lovely, lovely piece of equipment. I'll be able to play your voicemail live, and we'll react to it live on the show. So 818-925-6631. That gets your voice on the show. As always, Spidey Radio Network at gmail.com, patreon.com. So with that, we'll take your final comments. I'll give you a second to throw some out there. Kelly and Vinkman, is Matt still on? I don't know if Matt's still on.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we had a few people drop in and out. So people like Nicole, which is my cousin. She just likes to troll me. And then Sarah, of course, likes to troll me too. So
I did read the new America Chavez book. Spider-Man was in it.
How was it?
It's not so. The only thing we have to compare it to is the comedy of errors that was Gabby Rivera's run. I actually liked this one. It was pretty good.
There you go.
It made America Chavez into an actual character and not just a bunch
caricature.
A punchline.
Mm.
Is it worth getting Twitch? I don't know if I want to download the app just so I can interact with the Neil Show live.
I think so. If you're looking for people who play video games and you want to see them do it live, it's easier to do it there than it is on YouTube.
Yeah. And eventually, and
you can do it on desktop, by the way.
Eventually, I'm going to upgrade everything with the Twitch. I'm going to build the Twitch channel out and migrate these videos over to Twitch and everything like that. That is one of my goals, but it does cost a lot more money to do StreamYard with the Pro. I get more features. There is some advantages to it, but it's like I'm in there's the free tier and then the lower tier and the higher tier. So anyway, so with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm going to mute Neil so I don't have the spookiness of the background.
I'm sorry.
as he mutes himself. But with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and listening to the Spidey Dude Experience. This was not the normal episode, but we'll be back next week with a review of Amazing Spider-Man number 61, or if you're doing legacy numbering, 862. On Friday, we'll have Make My Mayday, so join us for that if you have the time at, I think, 8 p.m. Eastern. And so with that, of course, like I mentioned earlier, become a Patreon member at patreon.com/SpideyDude Network. Be sure to follow us on our various social medias like at SpideyDude Radio on Twitter, at SpideyDude Network on Instagram and Facebook. And you can also give us a voicemail if you like us, 818-925-6631. And if you're listening to us on the audio versions of the podcast, once again, we apologize for any visual aids we used. But leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher, and we'll read that feedback live here on the Spidey Dude Experience, only on the Spidey Dude Radio Network. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.